Shalom. Call Halayim La, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, double honors to the elder bishops of Great Millstone as GMS. Peace and bless to the Akim and a few Akwat across the four winds. This is about the Mayim from Great Millstone Houston coming to you another lesson. Now I got this screenshot from the brother GMS Chicago, Kingdom Come. Subscribe to that brother's page and be edified. It says cringe and fringe, shaking my head. But you got these guys, Sakari, a couple of guys from Sakari, going to the protest of the Mexicans. But for what? They just want to be seen. Got the crispy line up beards, but they got the Sakari t-shirts on with the fringes. You're supposed to have a garment down to the foot, with a border of blue with the fringes, not a t-shirt. That's not a garment. That's an undershirt. And Apostle Gabar, thoroughly went into that. But this goes to show you that their leaders, aren't like our leaders here at Great Millstone. You got to have righteous leaders, those that have the experience, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Ultimately, that are Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is dealing with. These guys are very carnal. Romans chapter 8, verse 5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. These guys are after the flesh. Like the brother said in the video, believe those guys went out to the protest to look for some hoes, which, it makes sense. He was getting on the guy with the skinny jeans, which also made sense. If something breaks out or something happens, you're sagging, you're walking around with some skinny jeans, you're not going to be able to run. You're not going to be able to move in those. And it looked like one of the guys may have had a gun. I couldn't really tell from the video, but it looked like the guy, may have had a gun in his pocket or something too. That's very carnal. Because at the end of the day, when you fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the angels encampeth around them. Psalms 34 and 7. But we're supposed to be walking in the spirit. We're supposed to be, spiritually minded in these last days. If you're walking in the spirit, you would know not to go down to the protest, especially with Trump, ramping up ICE, deporting, the so-called Latinos and Hispanics. But you see also the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, and then also the so-called Haitian, which will be of the Southern Kingdom. So you got both Southern and Northern Kingdom get rounded up. So if you're in the midst of that, you're liable to get rounded up. Romans 8 and 6, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Those that are carnally minded, hey, that's going to lead you to death. You're supposed to be walking in the spirit. And how do you walk in the spirit? One, by listening to the elder apostles and the elders. They would have told you not to go down to those protests. But when you're leaning on your own understanding, hey, that's when you're liable to get snatched up. Ultimately, hey, you're liable to get put to death. Walking around with a gun at the protest, if that's what it was, or a taser or whatever, that's not going to save you. If you are at home, doing a lesson, meeting up with a brother, you could be fellowshipping with something, doing something more spiritually minded with other brothers that's like-minded, instead of joining up with those in your camp to go down to a protest. It's just a bad look. Second Corinthians chapter 6, verse 3, give no offense in anything, that the ministry be not blamed. Now, when you go into that word offense, strong, well, I'll let him say it.
Strong's G 4349. Proskape.
You go to the outline of biblical usage on the Blue Letter Bible, an occasion of stumbling, to do something which causes others to stumble, i.e., leads them into error or sin. And the wages of sin is death. So you're causing someone to stumble, that's a sin. But we do have a lot of newcomers, You may have some newcomers, some new brothers and sisters that may be in the mindset of like the Black Panthers, want to be more militia or more militant, and want to go out there and go to the protest, and take up arms. But we're not living in that time. You can cause them to stumble. Ultimately, you can cause them to get sent to the spirit world. Why? Because they're not walking in the spirit. You're not setting a good example for them to walk in the spirit. A spiritual thing would have been to tell them not to go to the protest. Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus chapter 11 verse 9, strive not in a manner that concerneth thee not, and sit not in judgment with sinners. So strive in a manner that concerneth thee not. This doesn't concern you. You know, this is for, the 2/3 of the northern kingdom. Those are out there protesting. They're not in the spirit neither, because protesting is not going to accomplish anything. Our people have been protesting, marching since the 60s, and nothing has changed. Things are just getting worse and worse. And sit not in judgment with sinners. I just recently went to a Mexican restaurant, and just about everything that they cook was in lard. So they cooking everything in pork. Everything pretty much had pork in it, which is against the law, statutes, and commandments, against the dietary laws. We're not supposed to, consume pork. We're not supposed to touch it. But you got the so-called Latinos or Hispanics, cooking their food in lard and pork. They deal with the swine a lot. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 15. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. These guys were not walking in wisdom. They weren't being circumspect, understanding the times that we're in. Again, if you understood the times that we were in, you will understand that Trump, in the Edomites, Esau Edom, he wants to round up the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites. He wants to round you up and deport you, put you into concentration camps. But you got these guys dancing around at the protests, showing off the clean lineups, lined up beard, the fringes on the t-shirt, showing off the Sakari shirts, trying to, I guess, get people to join them, but people will be brought in by the word. That's the spirit, bringing out this truth, prophesying the downfall of Babylon the Great, understanding the times that we're in. 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. And we go into that word perilous is dangerous. Like, we're living in dangerous times. At any moment, anything could have went off. A bomb could have went off. Well, we just seen, what was that, a cyber truck that exploded? Somebody could have drove to the crowd. What if they would have got ran over? This is dangerous times to be out there in the midst of these protests. But these guys just want to be seen, man. We know soon that, Esau Edom, a self-proclaimed white man, he knows that he has a short time. So he's going to come in with great wrath to send you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans and Hispanics to these concentration camps. The last precept I had was Isaiah 59 and 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, shall lift up a standard against him. So the enemy can come in at any time like a flood. He come rushing in, rounding up Jake, putting Jake to death. Jake is short for Jacob, which Jacob's name was changed to Israel. You Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans. Hey, the enemy is coming in he's going to come in like a flood. But those that are walking in the spirit, those that are of the elect of the nation of Israel, hey, the Lord is going to lift up a standard, give us spiritual powers, so on and so forth, to protect us. In these days, again, we're living in perilous times. We're living in dangerous times, man. It's not a time to be laughing and giggling at protest. It was really pointless, but hey, at the end of the day, somebody got to be the 2/3, and those that are going to be carnal are going to be carnal. But Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect. Call Layim La, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles. Double honors to the elder bishops of Great Millstone as GMS. Peace and bless to the Akim and a few Akwa. Shalom.